Hello everybody and welcome to the Watch channel. Today we're going to be taking another dive down into the rabbit hole and we're looking at a model from the Adidas brand. This time it is their newly released Black Bay GMT Pepsi bezel. Now this watch is outstanding, guys. It is a quartz, but a Swiss quartz movement, and I suppose I've always been an automatic kind of sort of person. I like the intricacy of a mechanical movement. I love the artistry and the essential engineering that is able to calculate time to a relatively accurate position. But what I do absolutely appreciate about a quartz is simplicity and the ability to just pull it out of my watch box and not have to worry about adjusting it. And this watch does it in spades. So without further ado, we're going to turn the camera around and take a look at this watch in further detail. Before we do that though, if you do like the content, please do consider subscribing. It would really help the channel out. On that note, let's turn the camera around and take a look at this Pepsi bezel GMT from Adidas. Okay, let's start things off as per usual with the dimensions. So first thing to mention is the case diameter. You are sitting at a very nice 39 mils, so this will fit smaller wrist sizes very, very well. In terms of the height, you're looking at a 48 mils from the top to the bottom lugs, and you've got a slightly thicker than average case. That's mainly due to the raised crystal at 14.5 mils. In terms of lug width, it's the standard 20 mils, so this is going to fit on a variety of other straps if you don't want that Jubilee strap to be the regular thing that you have it on. Okay, so moving on to the specifications of the watch. You do have a rather nice 316L stainless steel case and bracelet, and I'll talk more about the finishing later on in this video. In terms of water resistance, you do have 200 meters of water resistance, so you can go diving with this watch. No issues there whatsoever. Inside the watch, you do have the Swiss Quartz Ronda 515-24H. Now, obviously a quartz movement, but it does have two settings, so you pull the crown out to the first position, and that allows you to adjust the date going up the way and the GMT hand if you move it down the way. So rather easy to adjust your second time zone without interfering with the regular time. One thing I do like about the watch is the retro style bezel. I think there'll probably be, a lot of people that feel that the aluminium bezel has a much more retro feel that is more appropriate to this style of watch. But it is really well finished. The the bezel printing was very good. And the blue, in certain lights, it does have a rather dark finish, so it can look black in some cases. There you can see you do have a raised sapphire crystal and you've got an anti-reflective coating applied to it. In terms of luminosity, you've got BGW9. Now, I haven't done any night footage, but I can assure you this watch has no issues with lume whatsoever. It is very strong and will last you through the night or in low light situations. Moving on to the case and finishings. Now, I'm really impressed with the case finishing. You do have a really nice signed screw down crown, obviously helping with that 200 meters water resistance. And you've got some really solid fine brushing on the sides and the top of the case. One thing to point out though is that on the sides or the edges of that, and I think you can probably see it in this footage, you do have a nice beveled polished edge finish. So that is very reminiscent of the San Martin that I've got, which is a Tudor homage as well. And you also have that nice fine sort of tooth comb or coin edge bezel, sorry. You do have a signed screw down case back, and it does have the Rolex style opening there with the coin edge as well. Onto the wrist footage. So for those of you who haven't watched my videos previously, my wrist sits around about 7¼ inches thereabouts. The 39mm case seems to fit really well. It doesn't look too oversized. The one thing I was worried about, and this applies to anybody with the Chewbacca-esque wrist that I have, that the Jubilee bracelet might be a bit of a hair puller. Don't worry, I didn't encounter any hair pulling at all. It was really comfortable. In fact, I was really surprised. I'm not a big fan of Jubilee bracelets. This one may have won me over a little bit. So that's a little bit of a teaser around the next segue, which is the bracelet and the clasp. So as I said, Jubilee bracelets are a little bit too fancy for me. They are an iconic design. Obviously, Rolex, the President collection has this bracelet style. I've always found it a little bit too fancy and a little bit loose. The hair pulling aspect of it as well was a bit of a put off, but it has no bearing on this watch whatsoever. It was really comfortable. I found it quite easy to adjust. There is a little bit more flex because it's a more complex bracelet than something, say, like the Oyster Link. And you do have that buckle, double clasp there, which is it's okay. It's not perfect, but at this price point, it's pretty good. And you do have 5 points of micro adjustment there, albeit not quick adjustment. You do have to push the pins in. Moving on to the macro dial footage, you can see there the dial printing is pretty on point. Some people love the Addies logo, most people don't, but it is the logo, it is what it is, guys. But the printing, I have no issues with that whatsoever. Moving on to the bezel, and I've mentioned this previously, I found the aluminium bezel to be absolutely on point. You can see there the date window doesn't have any kind of etching on the outside of it, so it is just a plain opening to the date there. GMT hand, very nice finishing, and I love that square sort of effect. You can get loads of lume in there, and that obviously adds to the visibility of the watch. In terms of dial printing, very simple. You can see there GMT 200 meters equals 660 feet, really sharp. And remember, this is super macro footage, guys. So for this particular price point, I think the dial printing is exceptional. So, final thoughts. Well, it's a quartz, so I don't think it's going to sit well for everybody. Some people do have an aversion to it. But as I said at the start of the video, it's really simple. It's just very, very convenient. I can pull it out my watch box and just slap it on. Admittedly, yeah, I might have to change the date or something like that. I haven't worn it for a while, but it's going to be accurate. It's just a ready-to-go watch. It looks good. It's extremely cheap, and worst case scenario, something happens to it, you throw it away and get another one. But quartz, what's going to happen? You just need to change a battery every few years. I think one of the things that I love about these watches from Addies are, if people don't want mechanical watches, they don't have to get them. They can still get that look, and they can get it very, very cheaply with quartz. So I think they've done an outstanding job. Again, guys, if you do like the content, please do consider subscribing. But thanks ever so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in a new one very soon. Take care.